If you're over 60, there's something in your fridge right now, something you've been told your entire life is healthy, that could quietly increase your risk of a stroke while you sleep. No chest pain, no warning. One moment you're fine, and the next you're slurring your speech, unable to lift your arm, or struggling to find your balance. As a brain doctor, I've seen this happen to far too many older adults. And not because they smoke, not because they eat junk food, but because they ate a vegetable. Yes, a vegetable that triggered a dangerous chain reaction inside their aging body. We've all heard eat more greens and vegetables are medicine, but here's what no one tells you. In older adults, certain vegetables, when eaten at the wrong time or combined with common medications, can increase your risk of brain bleeds, clot formation, and sudden blood pressure spikes. Today, I'll walk you through 9 common vegetables that may quietly harm your brain and how to eat smarter without giving up what you love. And trust me, the last vegetable on this list, it's one most seniors eat every single week, and it could be the most dangerous of all. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Spinach, the two-faced friend of your brain. For decades, we've been told that spinach is one of the healthiest foods we can eat, full of iron, magnesium, and fiber. It's the star of salads, green smoothies, and side dishes in senior meal plans across the country. But here's the shocking truth. For older adults, especially those over 65, spinach, if eaten the wrong way or at the wrong time, may quietly become a hidden threat to your brain. Let me explain. As we age, our blood vessels naturally lose flexibility. Arteries that were once soft and responsive become more rigid. Add to that the common presence of medications like calcium supplements, vitamin D, and blood pressure drugs, and suddenly the balance inside your bloodstream becomes far more fragile. Now enter spinach, packed with oxalates, a naturally occurring compound that binds with calcium in the body. In younger, healthier bodies, oxalates often flush out with little issue. But in older adults, especially those with reduced kidney function or who take high doses of calcium or vitamin D, oxalates can begin to accumulate, leading to calcium oxalate crystals in the bloodstream. This doesn't just impact your kidneys. It can begin to harden arteries, particularly the small sensitive vessels that feed your brain. These narrowed vessels increase the risk of microclots, tiny blockages that over time can cut off oxygen to brain cells. And when that clot grows or shifts just slightly, it can form a full-blown ischemic stroke, the kind where you wake up one morning and can't lift your arm or say your spouse's name. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Mr. Harold Brenner, a 76-year-old retired firefighter from Milwaukee, had always been disciplined with his health. Every evening, like clockwork, he'd fix himself a spinach salad with a sprinkle of feta and a slice of whole grain toast. He took vitamin D and calcium supplements too, to keep the bones strong, as he told me. For years, he believed he was doing everything right. But one winter morning, Harold didn't wake up the same. He was found slumped over his kitchen table, his coffee spilled, his words jumbled. He had suffered a silent stroke overnight. No chest pain, no headaches, just a sudden loss of speech and motor control. His scans showed vascular calcification, stiff, narrowed arteries in the brain, and blood work revealed elevated calcium and oxalate levels, a red flag combination. The likely trigger? Nighttime consumption of spinach combined with supplement use over many months. His body had quietly been forming the perfect conditions for blood clots until one finally formed in just the wrong place, cutting off blood flow to part of his brain. Harold survived, but he no longer drives and he walks with assistance. And the hardest part, he told me with tears in his eyes, "Doc, I was just trying to do the healthy thing. I didn't know my salad could hurt me." It's a heartbreaking reminder that even good habits can turn dangerous if we don't adapt them to our age and health conditions. So here's what I want you to take from this. If you're taking calcium, vitamin D, or have any kidney or heart condition, limit spinach intake to the morning hours and only after speaking with your doctor. Don't combine it with supplements unless medically guided. And please, never assume that more greens always mean better health, especially after 65. Now, if this surprises you, wait until you hear about the next vegetable, the one that's often praised for heart health, but in seniors can cause your brain to bleed instead of clot. Let's talk about broccoli. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Broccoli. Good for the heart, but not for everyone. Most of us grew up being told to eat your broccoli. It was the classic symbol of health, rich in fiber, antioxidants, and vitamins. And for good reason. Broccoli is packed with nutrients that support heart health, reduce inflammation, and help fight disease. But what if I told you that for many older adults, especially those on heart medications, broccoli could quietly become a dangerous risk factor for a brain bleed? It's not about the broccoli itself. It's about what's inside it and how it interacts with the aging body and the medication so many seniors take every day. Broccoli contains high amounts of vitamin K, a fat-soluble vitamin essential for blood clotting. In younger individuals, this vitamin helps heal wounds and prevent excessive bleeding. But in seniors, especially those taking blood thinners like warfarin, Plavix, or aspirin, vitamin K can create a delicate, even dangerous imbalance. When consumed in high or inconsistent amounts, vitamin K can interfere with these medications, making your blood either too thick or too thin without you ever feeling a thing until it's too late. Let me share with you the story of one of my patients. Mrs. Clara Newton, 82, a retired elementary school teacher from Pennsylvania, was always health conscious. She followed her doctor's advice, took her medication faithfully, and every evening she steamed a bowl of broccoli with olive oil and lemon. "It keeps my heart young," she would say with pride. What she didn't realize is that her daily dose of broccoli, seemingly innocent, was slowly interfering with her blood-thinning medication. Her blood became unstable. Her INR, a key measure of blood clotting, fluctuated dangerously without warning. One afternoon, after a mild headache and sudden confusion, Clara collapsed in her living room. At the ER, scans revealed she had suffered a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding inside the brain, not due to trauma or high blood pressure, but because her blood had become too thin to clot properly. Her physician's first question: "Has her diet changed recently?" When her daughter told me about the broccoli, my heart sank. Not because broccoli is bad, but because even something healthy, when misunderstood or unchecked, can tip the balance in a fragile body. The combination of vitamin K and anticoagulants had created a silent storm, and the result was life-altering. Clara survived, but she now walks with a walker and her speech is slower. She tells her story to other seniors in her community now with a simple message: don't assume healthy food is harmless, not at our age. This is why consistency and awareness matter. If you are on blood thinners, it's not that you can't eat broccoli, but you must eat it in consistent amounts, and you must communicate with your doctor. Sudden increases or decreases in vitamin K can cause your medication to become ineffective, either leading to dangerous blood clots or brain bleeds that could take away your independence in an instant. And remember this: our blood vessels thin and weaken with age. A small bleed in a younger brain might be manageable, but in someone over 70, it can mean a permanent loss of memory, speech, or the ability to live alone. If you're listening to this and thinking, I eat broccoli all the time and I'm on blood thinners, please don't panic, but do take action. Call your doctor. Get your INR checked regularly, track what you eat, and never assume a heart-healthy food works the same way in every body, especially one over 60. Now, if this story makes you nervous, it should. But the goal isn't fear, it's awareness. Because next, we're going to talk about a vegetable that seems harmless, even refreshing, yet it can quietly dehydrate your brain overnight and throw off your blood pressure while you sleep. Yes, we're talking about romaine lettuce. And what I'm about to share may surprise you even more. 3. Romaine lettuce. Low calorie but dangerous at night. If you're over 65, there's a good chance that at some point, someone told you that a salad for dinner is a smart, healthy choice. Light, low in calories, easy on digestion. It makes sense, especially when weight management and heart health are high priorities. But here's a truth that most seniors are never told. That innocent bowl of romaine lettuce at night might quietly set you up for a stroke by morning. Let me explain why. Romaine lettuce, while rich in water and fiber, is also a natural diuretic. That means it gently stimulates your body to eliminate water. In a young, hydrated person, this is barely noticeable. But in an older adult, especially someone on blood pressure medications or diuretics, this gentle water loss can be just enough to tip the body into dehydration, especially overnight. Now, most people think of dehydration as something you feel: thirst, dry mouth, fatigue. But in older adults, the signs of dehydration are subtle and often missed. Your body doesn't give the same thirst cues it did when you were younger. And your blood vessels? They rely on proper hydration to stay open, flexible, and able to carry oxygen to your brain. When you're dehydrated at night, even just mildly, your blood thickens. Think of it like syrup instead of water moving through fragile, aging vessels. That thicker blood can form small clots, especially if you're already prone due to atrial fibrillation, vascular disease, or if you're taking multiple medications. These tiny clots may not be felt at first, but one wrong move, one shift in blood pressure while you're sleeping, and that clot can lodge itself in your brain, cutting off blood flow in an instant. That's exactly what happened to my patient, Mr. Leon Carter, a 75-year-old retired factory worker from Indianapolis. He was in relatively good health, on medication for high blood pressure, and like many of you, he was trying to eat clean. Every night, he made a big salad with romaine lettuce, cucumbers, and vinegar dressing. He skipped heavy meals, exercised daily, and stayed active in his church. But one morning, Leon's wife found him confused, struggling to speak, his right arm weak. He had suffered a mild stroke while sleeping. His hospital labs showed signs of mild dehydration, increased blood viscosity, and subtle electrolyte imbalances, enough to set off a cascade of clot formation. He looked at me from his hospital bed and said, "I thought I was being healthy. I didn't think lettuce could do this to me." It's heartbreaking, and it's far more common than you think, especially in those who combine nighttime salads with blood pressure pills, or those on low-sodium diets that already reduce fluid retention. Romaine itself isn't evil, but in the wrong context at the wrong time, it can be the tipping point your brain can't afford. Here's what's important to remember. Your body at 70 or 80 is not the same as it was at 40. Even small fluid losses, through diuretic foods, medications, or poor nighttime hydration can change your blood chemistry enough to make it clot more easily. And the brain, which depends on constant stable blood flow, is the first to suffer. So, what should you do? If you're eating salad at night, especially with romaine, be sure you're drinking enough water and consider shifting your salad to lunchtime when your body can process it without compromising overnight hydration. Monitor your blood pressure carefully and be especially cautious if you're taking medications that already pull fluid from your system. Leon recovered, but it took months of speech therapy and physical rehabilitation. He told me later, "I wish someone had told me that even healthy food has rules when you're older." And that's why I'm telling you now, not to scare you, but to empower you. Because what's coming next may surprise you even more. There's a common vegetable in most kitchens that seems sweet and harmless, but when eaten raw, especially by seniors, it can silently spike your blood sugar and disturb blood flow to your brain, all while you're asleep. Yes, I'm talking about raw carrots, and what you'll hear next may change the way you look at your evening snacks forever. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Raw carrots, a hidden spike for your brain. At first glance, raw carrots seem like the perfect snack. Crunchy, naturally sweet, low in calories, and often praised for their beta carotene and vision boosting properties. Many older adults keep them in the fridge as a guilt-free treat, something to nibble on at night while watching TV, or as a healthy alternative to chips or sweets. But here's the truth most seniors never hear. Raw carrots, when eaten at the wrong time or in excess, can quietly disrupt your brain's blood flow and increase your stroke risk while you sleep. It's not the carrot itself that's dangerous, it's what it does to your blood sugar and insulin levels, and how that impacts your brain's vascular system, especially after age 65. Raw carrots, although lower on the glycemic index than processed sugar, contain a fast acting carbohydrate load when eaten alone and uncooked. In younger adults with strong insulin sensitivity and stable vascular tone, this isn't a major concern. But in seniors, especially those with prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or compromised circulation, even a modest spike in blood sugar at night can trigger a dangerous chain reaction. Here's what happens. You eat a handful of raw carrots before bed, thinking it's a smart snack. Within minutes, your blood sugar rises. Your body then releases insulin to bring that sugar down. But in many older adults, insulin responses are slower or overly aggressive. This can cause your blood sugar to swing sharply downward during the night, known as nocturnal hypoglycemia. While this may sound harmless, it isn't. When blood sugar crashes during sleep, the body responds by releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones tighten blood vessels, increase blood pressure, and make the blood more prone to clotting, all dangerous in a brain already dealing with narrowed or stiff arteries. This sudden pressure surge, combined with the overnight dehydration many seniors experience, can cause tiny blood clots to form in the cerebral vessels, leading to a silent stroke or a transient ischemic attack, TIA. This is exactly what happened to my patient, Mrs. Lila Henderson, 78, a retired nurse from Portland. She was active, sharp, and proud of maintaining her health naturally. She'd cut out all processed sweets and replaced them with raw vegetables, especially carrots. "It's my bedtime snack," she told me proudly. But Lila began waking up some mornings feeling off, mild confusion, dizziness, even tingling in her hand. She brushed it off as just getting older. Then one morning, she couldn't remember how to make coffee, the same routine she'd done every day for 40 years. Her husband rushed her to the ER. The diagnosis? A small but real stroke, likely caused by blood sugar fluctuations and vascular spasm overnight. Her labs revealed inconsistent blood glucose patterns and signs of early insulin resistance, and her vascular scan showed microclotting in the brain's tiny arteries. I thought I was doing everything right, Lila whispered to me. I never imagined carrots could hurt me. Her words stay with me to this day, because it's not about the carrot, it's about how our aging bodies process food differently and how the choices that helped us at 40 can quietly betray us at 75. If you enjoy carrots, don't panic, but be smart. Never eat them raw and alone before bed. Pair them with protein or healthy fat during the daytime, like hummus or a boiled egg, to blunt the sugar effect. And always discuss your evening eating habits with your doctor, especially if you're on medications for blood sugar, blood pressure, or cholesterol. Lila recovered, thankfully, but her independence was shaken and her confidence in her routine forever altered. She now shares her story with others in her retirement community, warning them of the innocent habits that almost cost me everything. And if you think carrots are the only vegetable hiding a risk like this, think again. Because next, we're going to talk about something far more potent, a vegetable that's considered medicinal in many cultures. Yet in older adults, it can thin your blood so much that a single blood vessel rupture could change your life overnight. Yes, I'm talking about garlic, and the truth might leave you stunned. 5. Garlic. A natural blood thinner with hidden dangers. Garlic has long been praised as a miracle food. In fact, it's been used for centuries in traditional medicine, celebrated for lowering blood pressure, reducing cholesterol, fighting inflammation, and boosting immunity. Many seniors proudly include fresh garlic in their meals or take garlic supplements, believing they're doing something profoundly healthy for their hearts and circulation. But here's the truth most people never hear. For older adults, especially those taking blood thinners, aspirin, or certain heart medications, garlic can quietly become a dangerous trigger for brain bleeding. A single clove may seem harmless, but inside your aging body, it can tip the scales from protection to peril in ways you won't feel until it's too late. You see, garlic is a potent natural anticoagulant. It helps prevent the formation of blood clots, something that sounds beneficial. But when combined with common medications like warfarin, Plavix, Xarelto, or even low-dose aspirin, garlic can push your blood into an overthin state. And for seniors with already fragile blood vessels in the brain, that can be catastrophic. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Mr. Thomas Reeves, 81, a retired railroad engineer from Missouri. Thomas was the definition of self-reliant. After a minor heart procedure, he was prescribed a blood thinner and told to avoid dangerous interactions. But he'd read an article online about the healing power of garlic and decided to take a garlic supplement daily. 600 milligrams of concentrated garlic extract plus an extra raw clove in his dinner every night. He didn't tell his doctor. He didn't think it mattered. 3 weeks later, Thomas began experiencing severe headaches and light sensitivity. Then came nausea, confusion, and slurred speech. By the time his wife got him to the hospital, he had already suffered a hemorrhagic stroke, a bleed inside the brain. His brain scan showed a rupture in a small vessel that should have held, but his blood was simply too thin to clot. When we reviewed his medication list and supplements, the culprit became clear. It wasn't just the prescription, it was the garlic. I was just trying to help my heart, he told me during a recovery. His voice weakened. I had no idea I was setting myself up for this. And that's the tragedy. Thomas had no warning signs, no chest pain, no falls, no high blood pressure spike. Just an invisible shift in his blood chemistry until one tiny artery in his brain gave way. That's how delicate the balance becomes after 70. One drop too far, and it doesn't take much to cause devastating harm. It's important to understand this. Aging blood vessels are more fragile, more likely to rupture under pressure, or when clotting is impaired, garlic, especially in supplement form, is much more concentrated than what you use in cooking. And it's easy to underestimate how powerful a natural remedy can be when combined with modern medicine. This doesn't mean garlic is bad, but it must be treated with the same caution and respect as any pharmaceutical drug, because in high doses or in the wrong situation, it can silently turn your bloodstream into a bleeding risk. If you're over 65, taking any anticoagulant, or have had previous strokes or TIAs, talk to your doctor before using garlic supplements. Monitor for signs of bleeding, bruising, dizziness, unexplained headaches. And above all, don't assume that natural means safe for a body that's changing with age. Thomas eventually returned home, but he now needs daily assistance and has lost part of his short-term memory. He's one of many seniors who believed they were doing the right thing, unaware that good intentions can go terribly wrong without guidance. So if you think garlic is the only hidden risk in your kitchen, think again. Because next, we're going to uncover a common household vegetable, so ordinary it's in almost every pantry, that can steal your balance, disrupt your heart rhythm, and silently trigger brain fog or dizziness without you realizing it. Yes, I'm talking about onions, and what you'll hear next may change how you cook forever. 6. Onions. A drop in pressure, a rise in danger. Onions are one of the most common vegetables in the American kitchen. From stews to salads, they're part of our culture, flavorful, affordable, and full of heart-healthy compounds. Many seniors cook with onions daily, believing they're making a smart, wholesome choice. And in moderation, that's often true. But for older adults, especially those on blood pressure medications or managing heart conditions, onions can quietly become a risk to the brain, causing unpredictable drops in blood pressure, oxygen deprivation, and even triggering the formation of blood clots. It might sound surprising. How can a vegetable known for lowering cholesterol and reducing inflammation be dangerous? The answer lies in how onions interact with the aging vascular system and what happens when they're combined with medications that already lower your blood pressure or thin your blood. You see, onions contain a compound called quercetin, a powerful antioxidant that acts like a natural vasodilator, meaning it opens up your blood vessels and lowers your blood pressure. While that sounds helpful, when your system is already being medicated to do the same, you're now doubling the effect. This can lead to hypotension, an unsafe drop in blood pressure, especially during the night when your body is resting and most vulnerable. Low blood pressure might seem harmless, but here's the frightening truth. When blood pressure drops too low in older adults, especially during sleep, the brain receives less oxygen and nutrients. This triggers vasoconstriction, a reflexive narrowing of blood vessels, as the body tries to protect vital organs. And when vessels constrict too fast or unevenly, the blood can form clots, particularly in already narrowed or calcified arteries. One of my patients, Mr. George Langston, 80, a retired high school football coach from Georgia, learned this the hard way. He'd always been a big believer in natural medicine. After his doctor prescribed him a beta blocker for high blood pressure, George decided to enhance the effect naturally. Every night for 2 months, he ate a generous serving of raw onions in a vinegar-based salad, believing he was doubling down on heart protection. At first, he felt great. Lighter, more energetic. Then came the lightheadedness in the mornings. Dizziness when getting out of bed. One evening, he stood up too fast and blacked out, hitting his shoulder on the table. The next morning, George couldn't remember what day it was. He slurred his words. His wife rushed him to the ER. The diagnosis? A small ischemic stroke. A blood clot had lodged in a vessel near the speech center of his brain. His blood pressure chart showed significant overnight drops, followed by reactive surges in the early morning. His doctors discovered his supplement habits, his onion-heavy diet, and the interaction with his medication had overdilated and then rapidly constricted his blood vessels. A perfect storm for clot formation. George recovered with therapy, but he's no longer able to drive and sometimes struggles with names. I just wanted to help my heart, he told me, but I didn't know I was starving my brain. And that's what I want you to take to heart. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to fluctuations in hydration, in blood sugar, and especially in blood pressure. Foods that were helpful at 40 or 50 can behave very differently at 75 or 80, particularly when paired with prescription drugs. Onions can still be part of a healthy diet, but for seniors on heart medications, large amounts, especially raw and eaten at night, can cause dangerous dips in blood pressure that increase the risk of clotting, confusion, and even stroke. If you're waking up dizzy, if your mornings feel foggy, or if you notice random bruises or strange fatigue, it might not be aging. It might be your blood pressure dropping too low. Talk to your doctor, track what you eat. Be cautious with home remedies. Your heart and brain may not always agree on what's helpful. And if you thought onions were the only everyday food that could quietly work against your brain, there's another one you need to know about, a food often served at breakfast, sweet and golden, but capable of silently spiking your blood pressure and disturbing your brain's rhythm. Yes, next we need to talk about corn, and the story I'm about to share might make you rethink what you put on your plate first thing in the morning. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 7. 7. Corn, sweet and golden, but quietly dangerous. To most Americans, corn is comfort food. Whether it's served as a warm side dish at a family cookout, stirred into a hearty soup, or simply boiled and buttered for a cozy dinner, corn feels familiar, safe. For many older adults, it's part of the diet they've trusted for decades. But what if I told you that this sweet, golden vegetable, especially when eaten in certain ways, could silently raise your risk of a stroke while you sleep? You see, corn is often misunderstood. Though it's technically a vegetable, nutritionally, it behaves more like a starch, rich in natural sugars that quickly convert to glucose in the bloodstream. For seniors, especially those with even mild insulin resistance, high blood pressure, or vascular issues, this post-meal sugar spike isn't just an inconvenience, it's a neurological threat. Let's talk about what happens in your body. When you eat corn, particularly at dinner or close to bedtime, your blood sugar rises rapidly. Your body releases insulin to manage it. But in many older adults, insulin doesn't work as effectively. Instead of a smooth decline, sugar levels crash, often in the early morning hours while you're still asleep. This sudden drop forces your body to respond with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which constrict blood vessels and increase blood pressure quickly. In younger individuals, the body usually compensates, but in someone over 65, especially if they're already dealing with hardened arteries or reduced circulation to the brain, this roller coaster effect can become deadly. And that combination, blood sugar instability followed by vascular stress, is a perfect environment for microclots to form in the small vessels of the brain. That's exactly what happened to my patient, Mrs. Darlene Abbott, 77, a retired librarian from Iowa. Darlene had always lived simply, read books, attended church, and made meals from scratch. Every morning, she'd eat a bowl of corn grits topped with a touch of honey. In the evenings, she enjoyed corn on the cob with dinner, a taste of her childhood, she'd say. But over time, she began feeling tired in the mornings, dizzy when standing up, and sometimes struggled to focus. Her blood pressure was erratic, normal one day, spiking the next. Then came the morning her husband found her staring blankly, unable to move the left side of her body. She had suffered a minor ischemic stroke overnight. Tests revealed elevated fasting glucose, thickened blood viscosity, and microvascular damage in her brain. The culprit wasn't just age, it was the regular intake of starchy, high glycemic corn, especially at night, which disrupted her glucose balance and helped form tiny blood clots in the cerebral arteries. I thought I was eating like my mother did, Darlene told me tearfully. I had no idea something that tasted so innocent could be hurting me. The lesson here is not that you must eliminate corn completely, but you must respect how your aging body handles it. After 65, the pancreas slows down. Circulation to the brain becomes more fragile. What once was harmless can now set off a silent cascade of changes, changes that don't show up until your body can no longer protect you. So if corn is part of your routine, grits, corn flakes, corn on the cob, don't eat it alone or before bed. Pair it with protein. Avoid it late at night. And if you're diabetic, borderline diabetic, or taking blood pressure medication, talk to your doctor. Your brain's safety may depend on it. And if you think corn is the last safe food that could turn harmful with age, think again. Because next, we'll dive into a vegetable praised for its elegance and detox power. But in reality, it can quietly drain your body of fluid overnight, destabilize your circulation, and set the stage for a dangerous fall or stroke before sunrise. Yes, I'm talking about asparagus, and what you're about to hear may forever change the way you think about your evening meals. 8. Asparagus, gentle on the outside, but draining from within. At first glance, asparagus feels like one of the healthiest vegetables you could choose. Elegant on the plate, light on calories, and often featured in heart-healthy or detox-friendly diets. Asparagus has long been praised by doctors and dietitians alike. For many seniors who've turned away from heavy meats or processed foods, it's become a staple, especially in evening meals. But beneath that reputation for purity lies a silent danger that most older adults are never warned about. Asparagus is a natural diuretic. That means it encourages your body to shed water, not just through digestion, but at a cellular level. In moderation and during the day, this might be a helpful trait. But when eaten at night, especially by seniors who are already on blood pressure medications, diuretics, or blood thinners, asparagus can dehydrate the body, reduce blood volume, and trigger a cascade of reactions that may lead to blood clots and even stroke. Here's what's really happening inside the aging body. As we grow older, our bodies lose their ability to regulate hydration efficiently. The sensation of thirst diminishes, kidneys function less aggressively, and blood vessels, especially the tiny, delicate ones in the brain, become more fragile and less responsive. When you consume asparagus at night, its mild but real diuretic effects pull water from the bloodstream, quietly shrinking blood volume as you sleep. That might not sound serious, but it is. Lower blood volume causes the blood to thicken, increasing its viscosity. Think of your arteries like garden hoses. The less fluid running through, the harder it is for that fluid to move smoothly. The thicker the blood, the easier it is for clots to form, especially in narrowed or aging arteries. These clots don't always announce themselves with pain. Often, they build silently, then travel to the brain, lodging in a vessel just wide enough to let blood through until it's not. That's exactly what happened to one of my patients, Miss Joanne Ramsey, 79, a retired school counselor from Colorado Springs. Joanne prided herself on her healthy habits. She avoided red meat, walked every day, and cooked nearly every meal from scratch. Her favorite dinner, steamed asparagus with lemon and a touch of olive oil. It made me feel clean, she told me. Joanne was also on medication for high blood pressure and had a history of mild atrial fibrillation, both of which already placed her at risk for clotting. She didn't drink much water in the evenings, fearing nighttime trips to the bathroom. One morning, she didn't wake up the same. She was confused, couldn't recall her address, and slurred her words. Her husband immediately called 911. A CT scan showed a small ischemic stroke, caused by a clot that had lodged in the brain's language center. Blood tests revealed elevated hematocrit,
a sign her blood had become too concentrated. Her hydration levels were low, and her doctors traced the pattern back to her nightly asparagus meals, compounded by diuretic medications and insufficient fluid intake. It wasn't the asparagus alone, but its timing, frequency, and combination with her medications that created the perfect storm. Joanne recovered after weeks of speech therapy. But she told me something I'll never forget. I was trying to do everything right. I didn't know I was draining myself dry in my sleep. This story isn't shared to make you fear asparagus, but to respect how our bodies change after 65. When you're younger, the kidneys rebound, vessels respond, and dehydration corrects itself easily. But in older age, even gentle foods can have outsized effects when paired with medications and fragile circulation. If you enjoy asparagus, don't stop eating it. But never eat it late in the day without hydrating, and avoid pairing it with other diuretics or blood thinners without your doctor's guidance. And most importantly, listen to your body when it whispers. Early signs like dry mouth, nighttime dizziness, or waking up with fatigue could be telling you something far more serious. And if you thought asparagus was the last healthy vegetable with hidden danger, think again. Because next, we'll explore a vegetable often praised for its eye and skin benefits. You've seen it in anti-aging products, multivitamins, even beauty creams. But when consumed in excess, especially by older adults, it can build up quietly in your brain, mimic symptoms of a tumor, and threaten your vision, your memory, and your independence. Yes, I'm talking about vitamin A-rich vegetables like carrots, sweet potatoes, and more. What I'll reveal next may be the most unsettling truth of all. 9. Tomatoes. A stroke imitator hiding in your kitchen. For many older Americans, tomatoes are a symbol of freshness and vitality. Whether sliced into a summer salad, cooked into a sauce, or served atop a sandwich, they feel light, healthy, and wholesome. You've likely been told for years that tomatoes are good for your heart, your skin, your vision, and yes, in many ways, they are. But what you probably haven't been told is that for people over 65, especially those with circulation issues, neurological conditions, or digestive sensitivities, tomatoes can quietly wreak havoc on your brain, mimicking the signs of a stroke without any warning. Let me explain how. Tomatoes are naturally high in histamines, tyramines, and solanine, compounds that, while harmless to most young and healthy individuals, can become problematic in older adults. Histamines and tyramines can trigger inflammation, elevate blood pressure, and disrupt blood vessel tone, especially in the brain. Solanine, a neurotoxin found in nightshade vegetables like tomatoes, can irritate the nervous system when consumed in large or repeated doses. Now, add to that the acidity of tomatoes, which can interfere with magnesium and calcium balance, two essential minerals involved in nerve function and vascular tone. And suddenly, you've created a perfect internal storm. Vascular instability, nerve disruption, and electrolyte imbalance. It's no wonder that for some seniors, a heavy tomato-based meal can result in dizziness, headaches, visual disturbances, slurred speech, and even numbness or weakness, symptoms that eerily resemble a stroke. This isn't just theory. I've seen it happen with my own patients. Mrs. Geraldine Hunt, 83, from Charleston, South Carolina, was one of the most vibrant women I've cared for. A retired piano teacher with a love for gardening, she believed in food as medicine. Every night she enjoyed a warm bowl of tomato soup, homemade, full of herbs and garlic, part of her nightly ritual. She thought she was doing something wholesome. She wasn't overweight. She didn't smoke. Her blood pressure was well controlled, as she put it. But one morning, Geraldine awoke feeling confused. She had a terrible headache. Her vision was blurry, her speech slurred. Her daughter rushed her to the ER, fearing the worst.
a stroke. Yet scans showed no clots, no bleeding. Her brain looked structurally normal, but her labs told a more complicated story. Elevated inflammatory markers, electrolyte shifts, and mild cerebral vasospasm, meaning her brain's blood vessels were constricting unpredictably. This wasn't a classic stroke, it was what we call a stroke mimic, a condition that looks and feels like a stroke, but is caused by chemical and vascular changes rather than an actual clot or bleed. After a full review of her habits, it became clear. The nightly tomato soup, combined with her low-sodium diet, mild dehydration, and aging blood vessels, had set her up for this episode. Her brain was overwhelmed by histamines, pressure swings, and electrolyte depletion. It didn't take a blood clot to cause damage. It just took the wrong chemistry at the wrong time. Geraldine improved with care, but not fully. Her short-term memory remained foggy, and she developed anxiety around eating. I thought I was doing everything right, she told me, but my body doesn't react like it used to. That's the core message I want every older adult to understand. Your body changes dramatically after 65. Foods that were once healing can now agitate, disrupt, and even endanger your vascular system and brain. Tomatoes aren't evil, but for many seniors, especially those sensitive to nightshades, they need to be approached with caution. Avoid eating them late at night. Watch for signs like swelling, headaches, or foggy thinking. And if you take blood pressure, heart, or nerve medications, talk to your doctor about how tomato products might be affecting you. One bowl of soup shouldn't derail your health. But if you're not listening to your body, it just might. And if the story of Geraldine made you pause, it should, because she's not alone. Many older Americans live one meal away from an unexpected health scare, not from fast food or processed snacks, but from foods they've trusted for years. So what now? If even vegetables can pose these hidden risks, what can you eat? What's truly safe? Well, in the final section of this series, I'm going to walk you through what does protect the brain, real, senior-safe foods that nourish without harm, and simple meal strategies that can keep your mind sharp, your balance steady, and your independence intact. Because after all the fear and all the facts, what we really want is hope, and that's exactly what I'm going to give you next. Final wake-up call. The power of awareness and the healing found in simplicity. After hearing all of this, 9 ordinary vegetables, each with their own hidden risks, it's natural to feel surprised, even a little uneasy. Perhaps you're sitting there now thinking, how could something I've trusted my whole life become dangerous now? Or maybe you're wondering if it's even safe to eat anymore. But I want to say this as clearly and compassionately as I can. This is not about fear. This is about knowledge. As a neurologist who's worked with seniors for decades, I've come to understand something profoundly simple yet powerful. Your body after 65 is not the same as it was at 40 or 50. Your blood vessels are more sensitive. Your hydration needs change. Your medications shift the way food interacts with your system. Your brain, your most delicate and vital organ, depends on stable, predictable support, especially while you sleep. And sometimes it's the foods you believe are helping that are quietly doing harm. Each patient story I've shared, from Leon, who collapsed after eating romaine nightly, to Marlene, whose asparagus habit dehydrated her brain, these are not rare cases. These are common, everyday seniors trying to do the right thing. Good people, smart people, people who read labels, take vitamins, and follow their doctor's advice. But they were missing one key ingredient: context. You see, health is not just about what you eat. It's about when, how, and with what else. It's about understanding how your medications, your hydration level, your blood pressure, and your sleep patterns all intersect with the food you put on your plate. And it's especially about how your brain responds to these choices as you age. Clots form easily in thickened blood. Pressure shifts overnight. Vessels that used to flex now stiffen. And if you're eating foods that thin your blood, spike your sugar, drop your pressure, or dehydrate you, even ones labeled as heart healthy or clean, you could be unknowingly increasing your risk of stroke, memory loss, or cognitive decline. But here's the good news. You are not powerless. In fact, quite the opposite. Awareness is medicine. And what you choose to do with what you now know, that is the moment everything changes. So what can you do right now? Start by simplifying. Go back to real, whole, nourishing foods, the kind your grandparents grew up with. Think leafy greens like spinach, but cooked and in moderation. Berries, nuts, hydrating fruits like melon, and lean proteins that provide steady energy without sharp spikes or crashes. Eat your heavier meals earlier in the day. Don't skip hydration at night. Just a small glass of room temperature water before bed can make all the difference. And most importantly, talk to your doctor. Bring this knowledge into your appointments. Ask questions. Is this supplement okay with my medications? Should I avoid this food at night? Is this vegetable thinning my blood too much? A good doctor won't dismiss your concerns. They'll help you adjust your habits to your changing body, not someone else's standard, because you are not the same person you were 30 years ago, and that's okay. You are wiser now, more experienced, more capable of listening to your body when it whispers and stepping in before it has to scream. I believe you deserve more than just years added to your life. You deserve clarity, mobility, memory, and confidence. You deserve mornings that don't start with dizziness and evenings that don't end in confusion. You deserve a brain that serves you, not one that slips silently away because of something as simple as a salad or a snack. So I invite you to take one small step today. Maybe you move your salad to lunchtime. Maybe you start checking labels for vitamin K or sodium. Maybe you just pour that one extra glass of water before bed. Whatever it is, let it be intentional. Let it come from a place of strength, not fear. Because you are not fragile. You are awakening. And your awareness, your wisdom, your ability to act, that is what protects your brain now. And if this message spoke to you, if it made you pause and reflect on even one small habit, then I believe it's already begun to change something for the better. You are never too old to protect your future. You are never too late to become your own best advocate. And you are certainly never too wise to keep learning, especially when your brain, your independence, and your life are at stake. Let this be your wake-up call. And let this next chapter, filled with better choices, safer habits, and deeper understanding, be the most empowered one yet.
These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.